Hi, everyone. Welcome. We are going to give a second for folks to come in from the waiting room, but hello, it's so exciting to see your faces with us today. Hi. Whoop, I spot some friends. Hi, everyone. The chat is open, so if you'd like to give a shout out, a hello to our colleagues here on the call, please feel free to do that. You can give us a thumbs up or a raised hand. Yep, please feel free to have your snacks as you're here with us today. We've got quite a session in store for you, so we're super excited to see you. Okay, my clock shows 1:01, so on the interest of time, I think we should go ahead and dive in. Does that sound good to everyone? Okay, hi, welcome everyone. My name is Emily Cottrell, and I am here at the National Resource Center for the first year experience and students in transition. I do have a few slides that I'm going to share with you today, so I'll go ahead and pull those up now. We've got a jam-packed agenda, and so we're going to move somewhat quickly through, but give me a thumbs up if is it showing up for you okay? Excellent. Well, just a little quick introduction. As I mentioned, I'm Emily Cottrell, and I'm joined on the call by my colleague Sean Cleary here at the NRC. He's helping us on the back end of our Zoom, managing the chat and the QA. So we're super thrilled to have Sean. He keeps us in line over here at the NRC every day. And just very quickly want to run through a couple of logistics about how the session will run. Just so you know, the chat is open, as I mentioned, so we hope you'll engage all throughout the session with your comments and your salutations and your ideas, because that is the purpose of today's 101 session. To help us stay organized, though, after we have our speakers, it'd help if you put questions in the QA box. You can see that through your Zoom toolbar. It may or may not show up for you as a button, so if you click the More icon, it should show up for you there on the side. And also just be aware that we're recording the session, so
in terms of
back and listen later if you need to. So those are just a few little housekeeping things. But today's agenda, which I'm very excited about, we're joined on the call by several colleagues, volunteers who are going to help us spotlight what their campus does to celebrate National Transfer Student Week. We have Sarah Kane from Vanderbilt University. She's going to provide a student perspective for us. LaSean Jennings from Georgia Tech, providing a prospective student perspective. And Campbell, Keele from Missouri State, and Kimberly Dressler from the University of South Carolina, providing the current transfer student perspective. So we're going to spend a couple of minutes talking about Transfer Week in general. Then I'm going to show you a couple of things about the marketing kit, but then we're going to turn it over to our colleagues to spotlight their events. And then as you'll see, we hopefully will save a huge amount of time for brainstorming at the end, because we want to hear from you and we want to be able to exchange ideas and spend as many minutes doing that as possible. So with that, let's just dive in if that's okay. I want to give you a very fast summary of the history of National Transfer Student Week, just in case you're new to this event. Maybe you've never participated before and you're like, what is this NTSW thing? Well, it started 9 years ago. In 2017, it was founded by the National Institute for the Study of Transfer Students based on an idea from our friends at NYSTA and NETA. NYSTA is the New York State Transfer and Articulation Association, and NETA is the New England Transfer Association. And they came to one of our conferences and they're like, there's a celebration week for every other student. We should do one for transfers. And of course, NISTS agreed. I remember it vividly. I had not joined the staff full time yet, but I happened to be at the conference when the board was discussing this idea. We were all kind of waiting outside the door. We were like, what are they talking about? Are they going to say yes? What's this going to turn into? So of course, fast forward almost 10 years later, and it started as a small little smattering of events, but has grown to literally hundreds of campuses and organizations participating all across the country. You can see that we've done several themes over the years. We always try to liven it up with some artwork, and we're going to get to our marketing kit for 2026 in just a few minutes. But the whole thing that brings it together are just some common goals for Transfer Week. We, of course, want to celebrate transfer students and their journeys. Many of them are extremely tenacious and resilient as they travel between institutions. Some students have it easy, some students have it hard, but we want to amplify those experiences and raise awareness on our campuses for them. So we celebrate transfer broadly and loudly. But we also use it as an opportunity to educate. Sometimes we're educating transfer students directly and offering them programs to help them make informed decisions. Sometimes we're educating our campus colleagues around why transfer is so important and why we should pay attention to it. They maybe haven't caught the transfer bug yet, so it can be a great way to pull together some trainings or some data to help them understand the transfer population at their institution. We, of course, use it to connect. We want students to connect with our institutions, but also with each other, other transfer students, or other students across campus. And lastly, we hope that institutions take a moment to reflect and think about what is going well and what they could maybe improve upon in terms of serving their transfer students. So that's just a nutshell. But all you have to do is do a quick Google search or Instagram or Facebook or whatever your favorite social platform is. Search that hashtag Transfer Student Week, and you will see hundreds of examples of the various kinds of fun events and programming that schools all across the country do every year to support their transfer students. These are a few of my favorite examples, but it's all about amplifying the students and their journeys. And that, of course, brings us to our whole purpose today. We're unveiling officially the next iteration of our Evergreen Marketing Kit. You can see sort of what we call our multicolor design there, but the full kit is going to be available today at the close of this call, and there are two different designs. So I'm going to walk you through just a little bit. Again, just in case you're new and you've never used these kit materials before, I'm going to walk you through just briefly what they look like. All of this information is available on the NRC webpage, which you see there, and I'm going to pull up a different screen in a second and walk you through it exactly. But the same stuff that used to live on the NISTS website is now on the NRC website, so you can access information about what Transfer Week is and why we do it, celebration ideas, and of course the kit materials. And when you click the link for the kit, this is what it is. We basically mean repository for these fun graphics to help you advertise across your campus. It's not required that you use these, but we offer it as a starting place in case it's something you'd like to do. When you get in there, you'll see it's in Box. It's kind of like Google Drive if you've never used Box, but there are a few different things in the kit itself. And I'm going to, again, just walk you through a couple things, but just so you know, we've already exported several ready-to-use PDFs and several ready-to-use PNGs so that if you don't have time to do any editing or customization, you have something ready to go right there. But we've also included for you a how-to guide and a list of all of the Canva templates where you can kind of make these designs your own. That's the whole kind of backbone of the marketing kit. You'll see we've got a variety of asset types in there, and each one has its own Canva template, which makes editing a real snap. If you've never used it, it's pretty easy to get around in, though we do have that how to use the marketing kit guide that walks you kind of step by step through how to customize it. But if you're open to it, I thought we might just walk through just briefly on my screen so that you can see how easy it is. Does that sound okay? Okay, let me switch my screens. I'm gonna go to a website. Do you see the NRC website? Great. So when you land on this page, and my colleague Sean a little bit later will share all of these links to you directly, so you don't have to worry about fishing for them right now. But you get to the page there and you just scroll down, and right here, right on the side, is the fastest link, download the marketing kit. And when you click that, it does open up in Box where you can see the various materials. And so just for the sake of our walkthrough today, I'm going to double click on the Excel sheet, which has all the various templates. All of these link to an individual asset, but let's just pretend we're going to edit, I don't know, this LinkedIn one, which is kind of funny and ironic because I'm not even on LinkedIn. Ask me later why that is. But we've went ahead and created, this is an example of what our two color motif is. We've done this so that it's very easy for you to take your institution or organization's primary brand colors and just swap them in. So this is an example. Anybody know any universities with black and gold? I think I have a couple. But to get started, this is it's going to prompt you to view the template. So you click that view template button, and then you're going to say open in editor. And the great thing about Canva is all of these assets are already in the template design itself. So you do not have to have a pro account. You don't have to pay for anything. Just set up for a free account. You can connect it potentially through your school, like we do here, or even through your social media accounts, your Google account, your Facebook account. You only need a free account to get in there. But it's kind of straightforward once you get in there. Every design has these little kind of wavy lines on it. You may or may not be able to see those very well. But you just click an asset, then you click this position button to open up the layers panel on the side, and that allows you to select individual elements and begin to recolor them. So here I've selected the gold, and I'm at the University of South Carolina now, so let's do red and black. I'm just going to make this, ooh, our primary is red, so let's put that on top. We'll see how it looks at the end. We'll put black on the bottom, and then we'll go back to our layers panel and choose this one and make that South Carolina red. Ooh, and there you have it. You'll see that it is pretty much ready to go, just like that if you want. We can change the text color here so that the dates show up. And you'll notice there's some instructions here. You are welcome to keep our NRC logo here at the bottom. We'd love for you to help us promote and then add your own school logo here. Or you can delete that and swap this one out for your South Carolina logo instead. But that's kind of it in a nutshell. It truly is that straightforward. When you're ready and you've got your design finished exactly the way you want it, just click the share button here and download. And then you just tell it what kind of file type you want right there. So I know that was really fast, but we just wanted to show you how quick and easy it really can be to customize those templates. So now, hopefully you're seeing the PowerPoint again. Is it showing up? Great. So the kit preview, we just walked through those few things. And check it out, we're totally on time. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to a very special guest we have on the call today. Her name is Sarah Kane, and she is a transfer student. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes sharing some of her story and why Transfer Week programming is important from a student perspective. Sarah, take it away.
All right. Hi, everybody. I hope you guys are all having a great Tuesday. My name is Sarah Kane, and just like Ms. Kitchell said, I am a transfer student at Vanderbilt. So initially in my transfer student journey, I had spent my freshman year at the University of Texas at Austin. And there I had a real privilege to be immersed in Longhorn life and get to interact with so many people. But as I ventured throughout my undergrad journey, I realized that there is certain aspects of college life that I wanted more of, particularly whenever I'm talking about research, being able to go to an institution that has better integration where the medical center, as somebody who's pre-med, is really tied to the institution itself. So I had applied to Vanderbilt, and fun fact, I was initially rejected whenever I applied in high school. So I had done this and I had applied knowing that even if I was going to get rejected, first of all, it would be all right. And second of all, I would apply again. And I'm glad to say that I was accepted as a transfer student. And coming here has been such a life-changing moment for me because I not only grew academically, pushed myself in ways I never imagined, but more importantly, I grew as a person. But I will say that transition wasn't necessarily the smoothest thing ever. Whenever I first came and I got in, I was excited. That was my first emotion that I ever had. But then I was very nervous. I realized that I would be leaving Texas, the place that I had grown up with for 19 years of my life, to go to Tennessee, and a place where I had no family, I had no friends, and it is a academically rigorous school, so a part of me wondered if I was going to be enough, particularly based on the fact that I had gotten rejected the first time. So even though I had gotten accepted, my mind was still trying to distinguish whether I would really be a Vanderbilt student or I would just be an outsider. However, a lot of the programming that Vanderbilt did, including orientation and including post programming, was really instrumental in order to make me feel at home. I was able to connect with current transfer students. I was able to see how transfer students are able to grow and use that type of integral traits of resilience, grit, integrity, and use those traits to pitch themselves in a brighter light compared to their peers. I'm not saying that like the first year students don't have their own merits too, but as a transfer student myself, I can definitely say that there's quite a bit of resilience that comes from it. And being able to interact with the National Transfer Student Week programming helps me realize how far I've come and what places I could go. Which is why getting able to get that whole week right after you came in, and maybe you kind of forgot, maybe you're busy within the school year and you are struggling, this week is really important to highlight what you've accomplished and how you can connect with your community, how you can connect with your campus, and even how you can connect beyond. So I'm really excited about this session right here, and I think that it really does a great job at highlighting all of the accomplishments that transfer students have done, as well as what they can do in the future. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing your experience. I know it can be tough to transition between campuses, and you are already making great strides in volunteering and getting plugged in so many great ways. So we're proud of you and we super appreciate your perspective. Thank you so much for sharing. Now we're going to do our first campus spotlight, and I'm going to turn it over to our colleague, LaSean Jennings.
Hello, everyone. My name is LaSean Jennings, and I serve as the Transfer Program Manager in the Office of Undergraduate Admission at Georgia Tech. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Georgia Tech and what we do for National Transfer Student Week from an admissions perspective. Slide. A little bit about Georgia Tech. We're a public institution in Midtown Atlanta with a focus on innovation and research. Our institution has a little over 20,000 undergraduate students, a total incoming class of about 5,400 students, and that's including first year and transfer. We do enroll transfer students in the fall, spring, and summer, and they make up about 25 to 30% of our incoming class. So in addition to a traditional transfer program, we have over 7 different transfer pathways. A few examples of those might be like our arts and science pathway that supports growth in our College of Design, our Ivan Allen College of Liberal Arts, and our College of Sciences. We have an Atlanta Public School pathway that kind of strengthens recruitment and student support within our city's public high school. We have a dual degree engineering program where students are getting 2 degrees, one from our partner institutions such as like Emory or Spelman College. And we also have a Regents engineering pathway program with our fellow university system of Georgia Public Schools. We even have a veterans program that assists military veterans who completed active duty in the past 5 years transfer to Georgia Tech. And quick fun fact is mechanical engineering was our very first major when we opened our doors in 1885 and is still our #1 major. Next slide, please. Initially, I did want to host some programming for National Transfer Student Week when I started at Georgia Tech. And I did do some research, and most of the programming ideas that I saw were for current transfer students. And being as that I work mainly with prospective students, I wanted to view National Transfer Student Week as both a way to celebrate students, but also as a recruitment tool. So a few institutions were waiving the application fee or hosting information sessions, but at Georgia Tech, we didn't have an application open during that period. And as a matter of fact, during that period, me and my team are deep in file review with plans to release spring admissions decisions on October 30th. And we already offered 2 information sessions that week. So I didn't want to offer the same type of content. And then our office does receive thousands of phone calls about non-admissions related topics. And so that's kind of where the idea formed. I decided that I was going to recruit campus partners to deliver content during that week. And many of our transfer students are currently enrolled in courses or pursuing co-curricular experiences. They're working, they're taking care of family responsibilities. So I do host a majority of my National Transfer Student Week programming virtually. Next slide. Here's a snapshot of the timeline that I'm using this year. Our spring application opens on August 1st. So typically my planning is going to start in July, and I hope to have all of the programming finalized by mid to late August. So that does free up my team's time to complete our holistic file review for this spring term in September and October. This year, one of our transfer members is going to be responsible for our digital media campaign, while the two remaining of us are going to focus on recruiting campus partners, ensuring that all of the sessions are finalized and built in our Slate CRM. We promote this program in a number of ways through a banner. Of course, we're using the National Transfer Student Week marketing kit, and we use a banner on our website. We use our digital media. We email prospective students. We have newsletters that go out. I've also really tapped into our first year team to help spread the word, because the first year students are the next transfer students. No surprise there. And so I utilize the first year newsletter, any counselor communication that they'll be sending out during that time. Often they'll let me put a little blurb about National Transfer Student Week. And I've also actually been featured on our admissions blog and asked specifically to have my blog be in October to really build up and promote National Transfer Student Week. And these channels have built over time, as this is probably my 4th or 5th year leading this type of programming. Next slide, please. Once again, so this program started small with 2 sessions, a general transfer session and a College of Engineering transfer student panel. Over time here at Georgia Tech, I developed a strong relationship working with the College of Engineering. We do a lot of joint programming for our Regents Engineering and dual degree engineering programming. So I felt very comfortable that I had a relationship with College of Engineering. The next year, there was a new employee that was hired to support transfer students once they transition to Georgia Tech. So I think that was a very easy ask for me to ask that person the following year if they would be willing to host an information session. Of course, I work very closely with the registrar's office, evaluating and articulating transfer credit. So, once that relationship developed, I definitely was another easy ask. Some of our academic colleges already host information sessions for prospective students, and they're open to all students. So I looked at the schedule and said, who's hosting during National Transfer Student Week? And I reached out to those departments individually and, of course, promoted National Transfer Student Week and asked them to add a transfer twist to their already scheduled programming. And all of them were very open and said yes, whether that was having a transfer slide or bringing a transfer student to that presentation to highlight that transfer twist. Last year, we had 3 new majors here at Georgia Tech. And so during one of our staff meetings, an advisor from our new math and computing major came to provide some updates to our office. And I emailed him before the meeting was over to ask him if he wanted to host a session for National Transfer Student Week. And he did. Over the past few years, sometimes departments will reach out to me and like, hey, we're interested in recruiting more transfer students. I'm like, well, I've got an idea for you. Why don't you come and uplift and promote your department, your program, your certificate through National Transfer Student Week? I really allow our campus partners free reins to host their sessions based on their preferences. So yes, they need to host them during the week, but that's the only parameters that I give to them. So I've seen a lot of different sessions come through from campus partners. Some people want to host an in-person session at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. Approved. One of our pre-professional units wanted to host a session at 8 p.m. at night. Approved. Our liberal arts college wanted to host 30-minute one-on-one sessions with prospective students. And so we were able to partner with them and set that up and promote those programs. And I did just want to point out, like, some of our top attended programs, the #1 program that students are going to come to is to hear from their registrar's office. Transfer students want to know about the evaluation articulation of their transfer credit, the transfer support services, exploratory advising. The Career Center offered a session on how to create meaningful work, and always transfer student panels. So those have been really the top sessions that students attend each year. And so I collect all of the sessions based on their preference, and we build those sessions in our Slate CRM, and they live on our visits page. And you can see kind of a screenshot of that on the slide. Next slide, please. In 2023, when I was reaching out to campus partners to promote National Transfer Student Week, I provided some recommendations, sometimes a little few recommendations. And one of them was just to promote and highlight transfer students on their Instagram page. And our Ivan Allen College of Liberal Arts made the National Transfer Student Week 2023 highlight reel. So very excited to see that. Once again, I use Transfer Student Week to highlight student stories and to challenge common misconceptions about transfer students. So on this screen, Tyler and Jeff were two computer science students who met before transferring to Georgia Tech, and they created SellRaise, which is an e-commerce management platform that helps businesses manage product listing across multiple online platforms. So after transferring to Georgia Tech, they entered their idea and they competed in the Adventure Prize, which is our premier undergraduate innovation competition. So it's kind of like a Shark Tank style event where they pitch their ideas, inventions, or startups, and it's broadcast on public television. They won the Adventure Prize, $20,000 for the top prize. Our communication team interviewed them for our article, and they actually hosted a day in the life, so like a takeover for our Instagram page in 2024. The other pitcher is Josh Hembry, and he's a mathematics major who transferred to Georgia Tech. And he is the first transfer student in at least a decade to serve as the driver of the Rambling Wreck, which is one of our mascots. And being selected as the sole driver and caretaker of the Rambling Wreck is one of the most prestigious student leadership positions at Georgia Tech. And it's deeply connected to campus traditions and school spirit. And Josh has the privilege of driving the wreck on the football team follows him driving the wreck onto the football field at every home game. And he's actually the first wreck driver to drive the wreck to his own wedding as well. And we hit gold with Josh because National Transfer Student Week last year actually coincided with our homecoming week. And so we were able to connect Josh with our communication team who wrote an article about Josh and launched that during National Transfer Student Week. And he also hosted an Instagram takeover for us. And when I went back to look at this picture, fun fact, when I went back to look for this picture, I noticed that the College of Sciences, the math department, reposted the story that we did from the admissions office. So just spreading the transfer news all through campus. And I really think these stories resonate to help prospective students see what's possible. The message just isn't simply that transfer students are welcome here, but it's that transfer students can really become some of the most impactful leaders, innovators, and ambassadors of our campus. Next slide. So my recommendation would be to start small and build relationships. Remember, I've been hosting this program for 4 years, so it's definitely grown over time. And so if you don't have any programming, just start with one idea. If you're already hosting one, maybe add a transfer twist to that program or add another to the mix. You can think about like, what are some of the most common questions? I know we get a lot of questions about financial aid, and financial aid is on my wish list this year to do a presentation for prospective students for National Transfer Student Week. So like, who do you partner with? What are some of the majors that are popular? Maybe some of the majors that want to grow. And then these are just different ways that you can start thinking of ideas for National Transfer Student Week. And I actually have some links to drop. So I'll drop in the chat links to our National Transfer Student page, some of the blogs that I've written, maybe some of the articles that have been written about transfer students. And I hope that, you know, some of these ideas that you'll find helpful and be able to implement at your current institution. Thank you.
Thank you so much, LaSean. That was rich with tips and information. So folks, if you have questions for LaSean, you want to follow up on any of her presentation, we do have the Q&A box open there, and we're monitoring that so that we can respond to specific questions about Georgia Tech or any of our campus spotlights as they progress. So we now have 2 campuses with the current student perspective. So we're going to turn it over to Campbell first to quickly go through some things that she likes to do on her campus. Campbell?
Hi everyone, thank you, Emily. As mentioned, my name is Campbell. I work at Missouri State University, and I'm excited to share with you all the ways that we celebrate National Transfer Student Week on our campus. First, though, on my next slide, I just have a little bit of context about Missouri State. If you're not familiar with us, we are a public 4-year institution located in Springfield, Missouri. And student count on our Springfield campus is about 25,000 students. Over the past 10 years or so, we've continued to see more and more first-time transfer students make up our student body population, which is really exciting. In fact, when we compared fall 2024 to fall 2025, we saw an almost 3% increase in first-time transfer enrollment. And as a former Missouri State transfer student myself, it is so exciting to get to see all of these transfer students arrive on our campus. And my job is to work with those students all day, every day. I'm the coordinator of transfer initiatives in our academic advising and transfer center. And part of my role on our campus is to coordinate National Transfer Student Week efforts. So I wanted to share what we did last year with all of you today. So the next slide will have the flyer that I provided to our faculty and staff. Last year, we had 7 events during National Transfer Student Week. 5 of those were for current transfer students. 1 was for our employees on campus, and then 1 was for our prospective transfer students through the Office of Admissions. So I will share a little bit more about those events with you all as I go through, but my top tip, similar to LaSean, that I want to share on my next slide is that it is possible to do this for no extra charge. My budget for National Transfer Student Week is a whopping $0. So everything that I do at this university for National Transfer Student Week has to come for no additional charge to our university. And I'm able to do that through 3 different suggestions that I have for you all. So seek out donations and volunteers where possible, capitalize on existing programs and events, and post on social media. So those are my top tips for how to implement this at your institution free of charge, or to, hopefully little charge if necessary. And in my next slide, I want to share how we used donations and volunteers last year. So on the left-hand photo here, this is a photo from our kickoff event that we had bright and early at 7:30 a.m. on Monday for National Transfer Student Week. We handed out donuts to every single person who walked by our student union for a few hours, just kind of kicking off the week in a celebratory fashion and also promoting the rest of the week's events that we would have. And we are fortunate every year to get a donation of about 100 donuts or so from Hy-Vee, which is a grocery chain in our area. So they have been very supportive, very generous in their donations, and they sponsor this event every year. And we're appreciative of that because we literally couldn't do it without them. So that's been really great. But my favorite event that I want to talk about is on the right-hand side. And so this is a photo from Pause, or Pet Away Worry and Stress. And this is an event where we bring therapy dogs to our counseling center. And so this happens with a collaboration for our Pet Therapy of the Ozarks group, which is located in Springfield. It's a volunteer-based organization that brings therapy dogs to schools and hospitals for free. So we just submit a request saying, hey, we would love to have therapy dogs at this date and time. They reach out to their volunteers. The volunteers begin to bring the therapy dogs to campus, and it's the best day ever because we get to spend a few hours hanging out with dogs, and who would not love that? So we also have it intentionally on our counseling center because this allows students to learn more about the mental health resources that our counseling center provides if it's not something that they're already aware of. So it's just an all-around really enjoyable afternoon, and this is possible through partnerships in our community. But in addition to having external partnerships, we also have some internal partnerships that allow National Transfer Student Week to happen free of charge. So on my next slide, I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that we do to capitalize on existing programs and events. So this is similar to LaSean's tip about trying to find transfer twist to existing programs that are happening on your campus. And we've been able to do that through several different ways. 4 of our events during National Transfer Student Week last year were events that were already going to happen at some point during the semester, but we were just very intentional about making them happen during National Transfer Student Week. So as an example, the photo on the left is a photo from our advisor forum. My office is responsible for advisor training and development on our campus. And so we already have a set number of forums that we have to have throughout the semester. So why not have one on transfer students during National Transfer Student Week? So this last year, our Athletic Achievement Center had a forum on the transfer student portal and the impact that that's had on student athletes and those who work with them. So that was a great thing. It's already incorporated in our budget. Good way to make a transfer twist happen. In the middle photo there, we have this photo from our Transfer Bears Living Learning community. There's a floor on a residence hall on our campus specifically reserved for transfer students. And with Residence Life, they've got a budget already existing to have events for those students. So we asked them what they'd like to do. If they wanted to go to an arcade a couple of blocks away from the residence hall. So Residence Life paid for them to go. And it was a great experience. And again, already part of their budget. So really easy to make that happen during the week. The final photo that I have here was an event that the students came to me and requested, which was so fun. And it was to have a transfer student night at our men's soccer game. So we were already having a men's soccer match during National Transfer Student Week as part of their normal schedule. So our kind of pep rally student organizations partnered together to hand out Missouri State merchandise at this event. We recognized transfer students at halftime, and it was just a really cool experience, especially because most of our men's soccer team happened to be transfer students anyway. So it just worked out really wonderfully that particular year, which was exciting. And then I don't have a photo of this, but our last kind of existing program that we do, our Office of Admissions has transfer visit days every semester. So about 4 or 5 of those throughout the semester. So we were intentional about having one on the last day of National Transfer Student Week. And it's a great opportunity to just share with our prospective transfer students everything we've done throughout the week and help them realize that they're not alone on our campus. We have a large number of transfer students that are waiting to join them in those activities. And so my final tip for you all on the last slide is to utilize social media. Emily shared the marketing kit. It is free to make a social media post. They have made it as free as possible. And so I have a Mo State Transfer Instagram account that I run for our university, and I share dozens of student spotlights throughout the week. We share them on social media. I write a blog post, I interview them. And this past year, we also spotlighted employees who either were transfer students and or work with transfer students often. And so I know a big question that people can have is how can we get buy-in at our institution? And at Missouri State, we're really fortunate to say that our president was a former transfer student himself. So it's really cool. He comes to all of our programming that we have. He's spread the word for last year to all of the employees, encouraged people to attend. So I know that's not the case at a lot of institutions, but we truly do have that like top-down support of National Transfer Student Week and transfer students at our university, which is exciting. So that's a little bit about what we've got going on at Missouri State, and I'm excited to hear about the University of South Carolina.
Thank you so much, Campbell. I love already the juxtaposition of examples, but also similarities. So I love where this is going. And now we're going to shift gears again to the flagship University of South Carolina to see what's going on there. So we're joined by my colleague, Kimberly Dressler. So take it away, Kimberly. And remember, folks, if you have questions for any of our presenters, feel free to put them in the QA box. We are monitoring that. Okay, Kimberly, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see everyone today. So many people on this call, and I'm already writing ideas down on my Post-it notes of things that I want to add into what we're doing here at USC for our transfer students. My name is Kimberly Dressler. I work here at the University of South Carolina in the Carolina Experience Office. And our office is we're about to start our 3rd academic year, and we were designed to support students after the traditional first year. So sophomores, juniors, seniors, and transfer students are what we focus on here at USC. And so if you can go to the next slide for me. Just a little bit about the University of South Carolina. We are the flagship institution for the state of South Carolina. We were founded in 1801. We are celebrating our 225th birthday this year. So we are trying to do lots of programming campus-wide around turning 225. We are 4-year. We are located right in the state capitol. Literally, we are across the street from our state house. So it is not unusual for myself and students to be standing in line at the local bagel shop with our state legislators and their staff. So everyone at the State House is very well aware of what is happening here on our campus. And I just saw someone say, "Go Tigers." No, we love USC. Go Gamecocks. But 40,000 students, we are very, very large. We are a large campus in terms of population. We have more than 40,000. I think it's going to be more than 43,000 this year. In addition to that, we are spread out in a parts hilly campus, and it is South Carolina. So it is very, very hot out. So those are the environmental factors are things that we need to keep in mind when we are planning programs and outreach for all of our transfer students. We're big, we're hilly, and it's very, very hot. And also we get hurricanes, so we have to plan for that weather as well. And yes, bugs. We do have the palmetto bug. It's a roach and it flies, and we gave it a nice name. We are home to the National Resource Center for the first year experience and students in transition. So we love that we can partner with Emily, Sean, and teams, as well as our University 101 programs, which are very well known. And we actually have a 102 class, which is just for transfer students. I'm not going to talk about that, but we do have a seminar for transfer students. And another important fact about our campus is 92% of our student body lives in off-campus housing. So most of our transfer students do live in off-campus housing, and that is a big factor on our campus. If you go to the next slide for me, please. So about our transfer students, typically we have somewhere between 1,300 and 1,500 transfer students each fall, somewhere between 300 to 500 in the spring semester. And so the fall numbers, I count the summer and the fall together. I just got the numbers on Monday. Through our last orientation, we are almost at 1,400, and we have 3 more transfer orientations to go. So we will probably be at that 1,500 number for our fall semester. And the increase for us in the last few years is we've had an increase in athletes with the transfer portal and all those things. We do have a few more transfer athletes to be aware of, and we've developed a really great partnership with our office and athletics. That would be an entirely different presentation, but that could be, if you have a strong athletic program on your campus, an area to look at to do some programming. With that, our students are coming mainly from South Carolina. Our top 10 schools are our local community college, Midlands Tech here in Columbia, Trident Tech down in Charleston, Greenville Tech in the upstate, York Tech up in another part of the upstate. So a lot of our two-year community colleges, as well as our 2-year schools in the USC system. In addition, our highest number from 4-year schools are the College of Charleston, Coastal Carolina, and Clemson. Some students are coming over to the Garnet and Black instead of the Orange. But so we do have a lot of students coming from in-state. And our top majors are psychology, exercise science, biology, criminal justice, sport and entertainment management is a big one, public health, retailing, computer science, services management, which is in our kind of hospitality program, as well as political science. That's where we're seeing most of our transfer students come in. We have a strong veteran population in the state of South Carolina. We have a lot of military bases, so we do see a strong veteran presence. And we do see students who are maybe taking time off and then coming back, and we consider all of those part of our transfer population. So that's just a little bit about what we're working with here in South Carolina. If you go to the next slide. In terms of what we do for National Transfer Student Week programming, I've been doing this for maybe 5 or 6 years. I inherited the program from someone else, and she had been doing it since National Transfer Student Week started back in 2019, and she moved to a different position, so I took it on, and then that program came with me when we started our new office. So we've had a lot learned, and I'll get to that. But what we're doing this go around, I dropped the link in the chat if you'd like to see all the event lineups that we have. We work really hard to get all of our programming planned in the summer so they can be live on our website when orientation is happening. Most of our orientations are happening between Memorial Day and early August. So we try to have as much updated on our transfer student website as possible. So if students are coming and they're looking around, they can see everything that's going to be available to them once they are a new transfer student here at USC. We do a mix of some social things, some workshops, just getting out there and doing tabling events, because as I mentioned, it's a very large campus, so it's easy to kind of walk by and see things. Some things that have been hits for us. We do a tabling event called Sweet on Transfers. Luckily, National Transfer Student Week is always close to Halloween, so there's lots of Halloween candy out. So we'll just go buy lots of candy at Costco or Sam's, and we'll make little mini bags and just give out candy bags to transfer students who stop by our table. It's low cost. It doesn't cost us to table at all. We just have to buy the candy and the little bags to put them in, and we can interact with transfer students as well as past transfer students or faculty and staff who may have been a transfer student. And so we kind of use those tabling days in the first part of the week to raise awareness in person that this is happening. A new program that we launched last year, which was very successful, is called Swap Your Swag. We realized that a lot of transfer students may not come in with Gamecock gear. They may not have a ton of Garnet and Black laying around. So we have partnered with local businesses, our campus store, a lot of our themed shops in the Columbia area to donate garnet and black or USC items. And if a transfer student comes up to the table, maybe shows us their ID card from Midlands Tech or shows that they've got a hat from their old school, they can keep that item. We don't need it, but we will give them Gamecock merch so that they have a t-shirt to wear to the next football game or a fan or the little, wallet from the back of their cell phone. And it's all USC materials, and all of those things are donated. I'm really excited. We have one of our stores gave us a lot of baseball hats this year. And so I'm really excited to give those out this year. We also do a Meet the Carolina Experience Peer Leaders table. We have a great group of students who are paid. They work in our office as peer leaders. And so they go out and table throughout the week. Be like, hey, we're here. You can come talk to us. Come have an appointment with us. Learn about what we offer for you as a transfer student. We do a fall social as well, which is a lot of fun. It started out as just a dinner, and then it became dinner and pumpkin painting. And now it's become a dinner, pumpkin painting, and karaoke. And never in a million years are you going to get me up there doing karaoke, but students love karaoke. I am so surprised. And the thing that we pay the most for is the food. We are required to do campus catering because of the space. So we pay about $800 to $1,000 for the food. We pay some money for the pumpkins, but karaoke is free. We just put on YouTube. They can pick up their songs and put on the captions. And it's an easy way to do karaoke. And so that's been a big hit. And you can see we have this picture here. They're doing the pumpkin painting. We really try to lean into the fall events to get in the mindset of it's fall, it's fun, even though it's still 90 degrees out. And then we try to sprinkle in some educational workshops throughout the week. And these have changed based on student interest. Sometimes we do something for, hey, you can study abroad as a transfer student. Let's figure out how you can build it into your schedule. We have a program here called Graduation with Leadership Distinction. So sometimes we'll put that in. We've done things on stress management, on academic success. So the workshops kind of change every year, but we try to build in 2 to 4 workshops over the course of the week, just so students can get those resources. And then if you want to hit the next slide for me. Some lessons learned through this entire process is we encourage everyone on campus to participate in National Transfer Student Week. We share all the dates early. So we have a transfer council here on campus that has academic advisors on it, partners in student affairs, partners in academic affairs, that we kind of get together a few times throughout the year to give updates and kind of talk through issues. We make sure at the start of the semester that those partners know these dates. And then we really encourage them to promote current transfer students or past transfer students during this week in their department or their academic unit, whatever it may be. Maybe it's a social media campaign. Maybe it's donuts with the dean, whatever they want to do to highlight transfer students. We'll try to make sure they know those dates early so they can promote it. Another thing we're really doing is leaning into social media. And so we have an entire marketing and comms team here in our division. And so we went to them back in May and said, we really want to do more with National Transfer Student Week this year. You have more capability with social media and making some video than we do. Would you be willing to do something? So they have developed an entire marketing campaign for us this year. We are not paying for anything. They're going to make this really amazing video interviewing current transfer students and past transfer students. It's going to go on LinkedIn. It's going to go on our social channels. It's going to live on YouTube. So really excited to really highlight this year across social media what we're doing. And we just said, hey, could somebody do this campaign for us? We don't have the capability. We do have the capability to do some small social media things like highlighting students and their stories, and our student team does do that. As for student feedback is another tip that I have. Like I said, I never in a million years would have picked karaoke to do, and they love it. So really getting their feedback and their buy-in on what they'd like to see. And then in terms of merch, right now, buttons are really big. Button making, there is something very stress relieving about putting that little button together and hitting the button maker and making your own button. It's quite fun, and students love to do it. They love to design their own buttons. It's relatively cheap. I think the kit is a few $100s and it will last you for a very long time. It comes with like 1,000 pieces. So it lasts for a long time. They can design their own. And also stickers have been really cheap. So we are leaning into stickers, class of whatever it may be. I am a transfer. I love transfer students. Those are also a cheap thing and an easy giveaway. And then my last tip is it doesn't hurt to try something new. If something doesn't work, you don't do it the next year. It's not a big deal. It's not a flop. You learn from what works and what doesn't work, and you build on that the next year. We've had plenty of flops over the years in some of the programming that we've done, specifically with the educational workshop. We'll just look for a new thing the next year. And with that, I think I have one more slide, maybe two. Again, here's where you can find information about us. I dropped our website in the chat already. You're welcome to follow us on UofSC_Carolina Experience to see what we're doing. That Instagram channel is run by our students, not me. I just make sure there's nothing crazy on it. So if you'd like to see what they are thinking about National Transfer Student Week or get some ideas, that's a great place to go and do it. And thanks for letting me chat.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. Lots of great ideas there as well. So everyone, I'm about to close the presentation part out because we're going to spend the last 10 or so minutes brainstorming together. So if you have ideas, put them in the chat. If you have questions, let us know, because now is a chance for us to learn from each other in the few minutes we have remaining. But do keep us on your radar. You'll hear from NRC if you're on our mailing list all throughout the fall. And hot tip, you've maybe heard us talk about it before, but we are planning our fully in-person transfer-focused conference event for next summer. And so we're like so close to being able to announce the details of that. So keep an eye out on your email for that. And Sean has been sharing links in the chat for the marketing kit, but we will certainly send those along with the email follow-up as well. So with that, I'm going to stop my share. And I have you all on gallery view so I can see your faces. But if you have questions or comments or ideas that you think are particularly worth sharing to the crowd, please put them in the chat or come off mute and let us know. We'd love to hear from the audience. And it's hard to know based on the names, but how are people feeling? Have a lot of people participated in NTSW so far, or is it kind of a new thing for you still?
I don't mind going. Hi,
Yes,
my name is
please.
Cheska Pringle from Nash Community College. Hey, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. This is my first time in this advisor transfer role. Okay, so what I have been doing, I'm trying to get more connections for our school. So I've been doing like on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I've been doing a transfer thing. So, like having the other schools just come, like your four-year universities, you guys have been talking about how you're promoting. So, what I've been doing is I've been having them come to us and just set up tables and be able to answer questions. But from a community college stance, how can I get this to work? What type of ideas besides just bringing the four-year universities to us? Because I usually have them set up in the cafe because that's where a lot of it gets really busy over there. So, does anybody have any ideas or have they done anything on the community college level to get this thing going? I would just love to hear what others have to say or any ideas. I'm open.
I appreciate that question. So I'll leave it to the experts who are on the call. We've got several folks with hands raised, and I'll be honest, I don't know if that means because you work at a community college or because you have a different question. So if we have someone
I
who
work
can...
at a community college.
Okay, great.
So my name is Erica Wade. I'm at Northeast Wisconsin Technical College. I also happen to be Region 5 chair for NACADA, and I'm connected to all of our two-year institutions. And so I'm Director of Academic Career and Transfer Advising. And so we are leaning into promoting transfer for our students versus us destination students necessarily come to. And so we will be encouraging our staff and faculty who have transferred to wear their alma mater and give them buttons. Say, like, I was a transfer student, just to get that visibility. We're going to try a speed dating event where our students can come and we'll bring in our transfer partners, and each transfer partner gets like 5 to 7 minutes to do their pitch. And then students have time to go up and introduce themselves and see, oh, this might be a school for me to attend. We're going to also partner with our largest collaborator to bring them on campus, but with their mascot and some balloons. And I love the donut idea. I'm thinking treats and transfers because I love alliteration. So how can we make it snazzy to bring more energy behind it and also promote transfer versus being the institution folks transfer into?
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And I love the idea of transfer planning is a thing and helping students see it as a realistic option for them. So I appreciate those comments. If you have other ideas from the community college perspective, please put those in the chat. The good news about the chat is it will live on in perpetuity. So we've got it and we can copy it. And also, if you go to view the recording later, the chat's just right there on the side. So we'll try to compile those and include them in our takeaways for you when we email you later. But we did have Melody and Tracy and Dr. Vessel, and then it looks like Shelby also. So I know folks may have to leave the call, but I'm happy to stay on for several more minutes if that's helpful. But I want to hear from a few more folks. So Melody?
All right. I was going to add for the community colleges, I run Transfer Virginia, the website for transfer in the state of Virginia. A number of the community colleges schedule their bus trips to 4 years during that week, and they get a lot of turnout for that. And multiple community colleges are going to multiple 4 years, so it's a nice coverage. The t-shirts, wearing the alma mater t-shirts is a huge thing at all of the colleges. And this year, I know that there is a group putting together 1 hour webinars. So let's talk STEM and STEM transfer and get 5 different 4 years on this webinar at one time. It's open to all the community college students across the Commonwealth, so that they're getting an idea of who offers what kind of programs and what's unique, just all in 1 hour. So thanks.
That's great. Thank you so much, Melody. Tracy?
Hi, Emily. I just want to say thank you. And I met you at NYSTA, and your energy is incredible. Thank you so much for doing this. It's great. So many great ideas. So I'm the coordinator for our joint admissions program with our local community college. I work at Stony Brook University. It's a SUNY school. And we did 1 year for transfer week. We had the students say, the t-shirt said, "I'm a sea wolf," but before that I was. And then they could write in with t-shirt paint or something where they went to before. So it was cute, and they really liked it. And t-shirts always go a long way. We do t-shirts every year. And buttons, the buttons are great. Stickers are great. I love all of that. But this idea about a webinar for the community colleges, that sounds fantastic, Melanie. That's a great idea. So all of you, thank you so much for all these great ideas. I just wrote a huge list. And we have a new director of our office, and she doesn't really want to do the transfer week because it's not part of advising. So we're paying it out of our grant. But the thing that I always feel is so important is let them know they're appreciated, because so many times they're put on the back burners. I told my colleague that I would pay for this out of my own pocket, but thank God we have a grant, so we're going to do it that way. But thank you everybody so much for all of the great ideas. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Emily.
Yeah, and thanks for those ideas, and good luck, Tracy. I hope it goes well. It is an affinity building thing, but it is so much more than that, because it's about validating their journey. It's about a sense of belonging and community. And it's that engagement piece that can really lead to persistence and advising. As you know, let's preach to the choir, everyone. Advising is a key element to transfer planning and feeling really well informed. And when you're facing barriers along your journey, you need someone who's your constant anchor, and advisors do that. So transfer week is a great way to have that intentional touch point to bring them back into the fold, make sure they know you're there. So, send her to our conference, Tracy. I don't know. Dr. Vessel.
Thank you. Yes, Tracy, thank you for your comments. And thanks to Jackie Pingator. I think that's a great idea. I am the transfer specialist, and that application completion event is biting at me. The speed dating, great idea. But my comment was really working with athletics and trying to get to the actual coach, the process I'm at Wilbur Wright Community College, and trying to make that connection to get to that athletic part, even for my dreamers who think they're going to the NBA and they only want D1, connecting them to other coaches and schools but it's just challenging to even try to get to athletics. And so the 4 years, if you have any suggestions on a way in, just to have them just have the conversation with an assistant coach. And I have a big database, but it's just a lot of information. And I need to go from information to that place of connecting. So any thoughts, any suggestions? I'm definitely going to have to go back and look. A lot happened today, and I'm definitely going to have to go back and look at this. But thank you.
Yes, same. It's so hard to listen and monitor the chat all at the same time. So I'm eager to go back and reread myself. But thanks for that question. If folks have ideas around the transfer portal and particularly around connecting students with coaches, please do put those in. It made me think, Dr. Vessel, we have, sorry for the plug, everyone, but I happen to see that there are some transfer portal related sessions in our pool of potential sessions for the SIT conference that's coming up this fall. So it's certainly a topic that's on people's mind, especially with all the recent changes around athletic pay or athlete pay. So a really timely question. And I don't have any answers for you off the top of my head, but I'm going to think on it for sure. We are at time officially today, but again, I'm happy to stay on for a little bit longer if folks have any last questions or parting words. Okay, well then, handing it over to you, who are in charge of planning these events and helping things go off seamlessly. I wish you the best of luck. You don't have to do big things. You can start small and grow from there. Or if you're capable, pull your team together and do all the things. I think it's going to be wonderful either way. But we so appreciate your time today and spending this with us. Keep an eye out for the follow-up from me and Sean. We'll try to sort of synthesize the chat and include all the links, but the kit is out there and we can't wait to see what you do with it. So thank you so much for your time and best of luck. And thank you to our spotlight presenters today as well for giving your time and offering those great suggestions. So everyone, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. It's great to see you. Good luck, school year starting. So fingers crossed it goes well. Bye everyone.